I have a thought. It's wrong. But your brain is already convinced it's true, right now. And the funny part is, you didn't choose it. Because your brain doesn't show you reality. It shows you a version of reality that is heavily edited, auto-corrected, compressed, and occasionally completely fabricated. Today, we're going to talk about why your brain lies to you all the time. And worse, why it does it on purpose. Not to hurt you, but to keep you alive. Let's start with something uncomfortable. You don't perceive reality. You perceive a constructed reality. A curated simulation built from limited sensory input, filtered through selective attention, processed through neural shortcuts, and stitched together using whatever your brain thinks is good enough to survive. This is not an objective camera feed. It's more like predictive editing software running on outdated assumptions. Your brain is basically saying, "Don't worry, I got this. I'll guess the rest." And that guessing, that's where the problems begin. Every second, your senses are getting absolutely spammed with data. Light, sound, pressure, temperature, emotions, microsignals from your body, social cues, background noise, memory fragments. It's too much. So your brain uses heuristics, mental shortcuts to survive the overload. Fast thinking, efficient thinking, slightly hallucinated thinking. Because accuracy is slow, and slow gets you eaten. This is survival-driven cognition in action. But here's the trade. The brain optimizes for survival, not truth. So it builds shortcuts that often become cognitive distortions. And you don't notice them, because they feel like reality. Take confirmation bias. Your brain doesn't just observe the world. It interrogates it like a biased detective trying to prove its own theory. If you believe something, your mind starts filtering reality like, "This supports me, keep it. This contradicts me, ignore it." You think you're forming opinions, but often you're just defending existing ones. That's not rational thinking. That's motivated reasoning wearing a lab coat. And it gets worse, because your brain is also a pattern junkie. It loves patterns, even when they don't exist. This is illusory correlation and pattern recognition bias working together like overconfident interns connecting random dots on a whiteboard saying, "This definitely means something." Lucky shirt? Team wins? Brain. Clearly, causation. Coincidence? Brain. No, destiny. This is the same survival system that once saved your ancestors from predators in bushes. Except now, it's applying the same logic to sports, relationships, and social media likes. But let's talk about memory, because this is where your brain stops being a liar and becomes a full-time storyteller. You don't have a memory system. You have a memory reconstruction system. Every time you remember something, your brain doesn't retrieve a file. It rebuilds it from fragments, emotion, suggestion, context, current beliefs, and every rebuild introduces errors. This is memory reconsolidation in action. So the memory you trust the most is usually the one that has been rewritten the most times. That childhood moment you swear happened exactly that way? It's been edited more than a group chat argument. And sometimes, the brain doesn't just distort memory. It creates false memories entirely. Convincing ones, emotional ones, believable ones. Not because you're broken, but because your brain prioritizes narrative coherence over accuracy. A clean story beats a true mess. Every time. Now let's go deeper. Your brain is not reacting to reality. It's predicting it. This is predictive coding. Your mind constantly says, "Here's what I think is happening." Then it compares it to incoming data. If it matches, you don't even notice. If it doesn't, you get a correction. Or sometimes just a reinterpretation that still fits your expectation. So what you see is often not what's there, but what your brain expected to be there. That moment you mishear lyrics? That's not confusion. That's prediction wearing headphones. And then there's emotional reasoning, one of the most powerful distortions of all. If you feel something, your brain assumes it must be true. I feel anxious, so something is wrong. I feel worthless, so I must be worthless. I feel rejected, so I am rejected. But emotions are not evidence. They are signals, and signals can be wrong. They are shaped by sleep, stress, hormones, memory, noise, and past experiences your brain never fully resolved. But your mind treats them like facts anyway, because it's faster. And speed, again, beats truth in survival logic. Now, zoom out, because all of this creates something bigger. A constructed worldview, a filtered, compressed model of reality that your brain constantly updates but never fully verifies. And inside that model lives another illusion. You, the stable, consistent you who thinks you are rational. That's also a story, because your decisions are constantly shaped by biases like optimism bias. You think your future will be better than statistically likely. Dunning-Kruger effect. You overestimate what you know in areas you barely understand. False consensus effect. You assume others think like you. Just world hypothesis. You believe outcomes are always deserved. None of these are glitches. They are features. Mental systems designed to keep your internal world stable, predictable, and emotionally survivable, even if it means bending reality. And this is where it gets existential, because what you call reality is actually just an interpretation layer, a constantly updated hallucination optimized for survival. Not truth, utility, but your brain is not trying to trick you maliciously. It's doing something more subtle. It is performing cognitive efficiency management. It cannot process everything. So it compresses, filters, simplifies, and guesses. Fast versus slow thinking is constantly battling inside your head. Fast thinking. Automatic, emotional, biased, efficient. Slow thinking. Deliberate, analytical, effortful, rare. Guess which one wins most of the time? Exactly, the fast one. Because slow thinking costs energy. And energy, evolutionarily speaking, is expensive. Even your sense of control is partly an illusion. Because your brain is constantly making decisions before you become aware of them. Then, it hands you the result and says, here's what you decided. That's not science fiction. That's just how neural interpretation of reality works. So what do you actually do with this? You can't delete cognitive distortions. You can't uninstall heuristics. You can't manually patch evolution. But you can do something smaller. You can notice. That's it. That gap between stimulus and reaction, that's where metacognition lives. The ability to observe your own thoughts without immediately believing them. To question the first interpretation. To slow down the automatic story your brain generates. This is where tools like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, come in. Not to fix your brain, but to interrupt its autopilot, to challenge distorted thinking patterns, to replace "this feels true" with "is this actually true?" A small question, a massive disruption. And maybe that's the uncomfortable truth. You will never see reality directly. You will always see it through an interpretive lens, shaped by biology, evolution, memory distortion, and prediction errors. But you can refine the lens. You can reduce noise. You can question assumptions. You can build awareness of your own constructed reality instead of living completely inside it. Because the goal was never perfect truth. It was better thinking, more flexible thinking, less automatic thinking. So yes, your brain lies to you constantly. Not because it hates you, but because it's trying to keep you alive in a world it never evolved to fully understand. And once you see that, you don't become less human. You just become a little harder to fool. And if you enjoyed this content, do us a favor, like the video, subscribe, and support the channel. It really helps us keep making more deep dives into the psychology of how your mind actually works. Until next time, question what you think you know.